Hello everybody. This is Kiru Show here. Now, when we last left off, Mina and Deku tricked All Might and got one for all. Now, let us continue. I do believe there's that fucking hurt. A month between the start of UA and the actual USJ attack. Now, let's continue. She'd basically wake up and they basically fall asleep next to each other again. Now, Deku, he actually does wake up and he actually just wraps his arm around her, asking exactly what's going on. She would just say, "It's weird, huh?" As Deku sits up and he actually does see Mina. He would just say that everything looks fine. Well, it's just my quirk feels off. As they would both walk out, and Deku would watch as Mina, she immediately just holds out her hand and sprays out a large gush of acid, as it falls down below, burning through a part of the wall. Now, as that would happen, Deku watches this and he's actually surprised. Well, if we can get a hold of that quirk this weekend, then possibly it would work. They get into contact with the All For One, as he would go on explaining that it seems like the quirk activated. Now, how do we use it? Oh, well, try focusing on it. As Deku and Mina would actually go somewhere. Let's say they actually head to the beach, where Mr. Shigaraki was taking them once. Because it's somewhat still dirty, but it's a little cleaner. Now, actually, I did say they cleaned up the beach. Let's say that they're there, but since it's the weekend, not really a lot of people would be there. Because, let's say people didn't hear about the beach being completely cleaned up. Now, basically, they would have to actually work on the quirk. Mina would actually just turn on One For All, as she would throw a punch and actually find that she just broke her arm. Deku would start panicking as he would call All Might, and All Might's confused. They would go on just saying that it was the weekend and Mina wanted to get a jump start on using the quirk, and she just threw a lot of power toward the ocean. She also broke her arm. All Might would sigh as he would make his way over to the beach, finding Mina, clutching her arm as she's just shouting that hurts, that hurts, as Deku would have explained to her during the whole time waiting for All Might that stay calm and just stay innocent, basically. She would just be doing so as Alma would take her to Recovery Girl, get her healed, and then come straight back. Dropping her off saying that, if you wanted to get a jump start using the quirk, then you should have told me. Now, what you need to do is, as Alma would just say, let the power flow through you. Mina doesn't understand as she keeps just talking with All Might, and Deku actually is thinking about this. Now then, these two are talking more and more on that, and All Might, he's basically gotten a little, let's say he's gotten a little annoyed, because he's been trying to explain it, but Mina just doesn't get the answer, or get what he's talking about. Let's say after that, the next couple of weeks would pass, as Deku has been trying to figure out what that means. One day they're just hanging out at home as Deku's still trying to figure this out. Now, they're basically at the warehouse and Deku, he's trying to actually just, what's the best way to put it? I was going to try and make an example, but the only thing I can think of is that Gran Torino Taiyaki thing. But let's just say this. Deku, he's still trying to think about it and figure it out until he realizes flow through. Mina, I have a question. What is it? Is it about the movie again? Now, I've seen Prometheus, but it's just whenever you turned on One for All, did you focus it in your arm? Yeah, that's what I thought, right? Flow through. Mina, can you try focusing it through your whole body? Um, okay. As she would stand up, turn it on, and start sparking with pink electricity. As she does so, she finds that this is actually easier to control. Okay, but calm down. Dial it. Try turning down. As she does so, she actually finds that this is so much easier to move. Let's say she's about at 15 to. Yeah, let's say she's at 15%. And she actually does start moving around and actually jump. She would actually just jump on one leg. As she jumps upwards, she hits the roof and comes back down on the ground. Deku just laughs at her as he just tells her to dial that back a little bit more. As she brings herself down to 5%. Now then. After that, Mina, she's ecstatic, as she now has a handle over All Might's quirk. Deku would just text All For One real quick, just saying they figured it out. As All For One would slowly sigh. That boy showed potential, but that took a lot longer than he thought. I wonder how All Might explained it. Probably very shitty. As he would just text them that they need to be ready because next week they will be doing the USJ attack. So basically to train as hard as possible and rest on the last 3 days. After hearing that, Mina and Deku would spend the next 4 days training and pumping as much power and iron as they can. Basically, Deku would just be fighting against the Nomu, along with Mina basically training and working against it. Now, after that, let us cut to the USJ. Well, let's get into it then. Let's George Martin this bitch. Now then, everyone's getting on the bus for the USJ, and they are all excited. People are wondering what's going on, and Deku and Mina are just sitting at the back of the bus. As people see these two are actually basically just. Well, not basically, but they're actually just like sitting really close to each other, actually just not making out, but they're somewhat just laughing and actually just having a little bit of fun. As they're on their way, people, they would all walk through the doors as Deku and Mina come out last. Now, they are ready. As soon as the doors close, Deku and Mina, they would wait for the signal, and the dog's barking again. Now then, as soon as the portal opens, this is whenever the entire League of Villains would walk out, along with Kirigiri making his presence known, and along with the mid-tier Nomu. Now, as soon as that happens, everyone's watching this and they're in shock as Aizawa just tells them all to stay here. Now, while that's happening, Deku slowly is taking off his glove, as he actually is getting ready with his knife. Now, I was going to give him this as a support item for the Heroes vs. Villains, but this works a bit better, because I feel like he would just buy a knife. Now then. Deku, he has the knife in one hand as he walks up behind, and he actually just brings his hand up, grabbing Monema's face. As he does that, Monema screams as Bakugo. He immediately turns around, watching as Deku's doing this, with a smile on his face. Deku, he immediately just goes to try and attack, and let's say this time, whenever he actually extended his left hand out, this is Bakugo, and Bakugo thought Deku was actually going to basically touch him with his hand. Bakugo basically brought up his gauntlet as Deku immediately just stabs into it, going into Bakugo's arm. Bakugo somewhat screams as Todoroki immediately turns around and is immediately met with Mina just blasting as much acid at him as he can. As soon as that happens, 13 turns around and she's immediately in shock, realizing that villains! Two of the students attacking. What? As Todoroki, he is laying there in a puddle, actually just trying to freeze himself over. Trying to protect himself from the acid that's already eaten through quite a bit of his skin. Now, after that, Deku, he immediately just tells him, "Hey, Kachan, guess what? You were right. You know, I never really could work as a hero." So, as he immediately just brings his hand up, grabbing the other side of Bakugo's gauntlet. I might as well be the villain, as he pulls his knife out. As soon as that happens, Deku, him and Mina actually walk over towards each other, as people are just asking, why are you doing this? As Deku immediately just drops Monoma's face, Monoma is actually still somewhat alive. Just in the process of dying, mostly. Now, as that's going on, Deku would just say, having this planned out for quite a while. Yeah, we did, as Mina immediately just turns on full cowling, turning it up to 15% as people immediately just watch her start sparking with electricity. What? You had another quirk? Oh, this little thing. No, it's something All Might gave her. You like it? It's called One for All. Why? Mina? Deku? What's going on? Why? Why are you guys doing this? Well, this is just something we do. Too bad. Kirishima, you could have joined us. Could be fun. Could wreak a little havoc, a little mayhem. Have fun. Kirishima just says no as he immediately starts charging at Deku and Mina with his hardened skin. He's thinking that if my hardening can work against Mina's acid, then it should protect him at least for a little minute against Deku. As that's happening, 13 immediately just shouts to get away as she opens up her finger glove. As that happens, 13 immediately watches as a lot of the students start getting sucked towards her, especially Kirishima. Deku and Mina actually start getting pulled in as 13 immediately realizes she needs to close the glove. But if she does, this is not going to turn out well. She closes it off and immediately starts running forward as Mina and Deku are going to land on her. She extends her hand out as Deku just slices through her suit. He actually slices through. Oh, what the heck. He actually slices through and actually cuts into her arm, as he immediately just grabs onto the suit with his other hand and begins pulling the knife and twisting it. As Mina, she tackles 13 to the ground with her other arm and actually just starts leaking as much acid into her helmet as possible, as 13 is screaming. 13's screams slowly go from loud and audible to gargled and actually muffled, as they would slowly stop. Now, Deku gets up and turns around. As he does so, he immediately starts running. He actually does run forward, and he immediately gets met with Froppy. As he's about to throw and actually put the knife in, let's say Froppy would actually just jump backwards or try and dodge. And Deku, he would just see that. Being disappointed, he immediately just tries going for someone else. Ochako is actually in shock as she's just saying that she can't believe that they're villains. Why? You wouldn't understand. As Deku's walking over to her, she's frozen in fear, not sure what to do, as Deku, he would just bring his hand up to her throat and immediately be met with Aizawa slicing through his wrist. As Aizawa does that, Deku immediately just backs up and actually just goes to slash with his other hand, actually taking off Aizawa's goggles. Now, while that's happening, Aizawa is canceling Deku's quirk, as Deku just looks at him. You know, Aizawa, that wasn't smart. What do you mean? You're never gonna stop us. Us? As Mina comes in, punching him with 25%, breaking his jaw. Now, as that happens, Deku, he walks over, and he actually does take Aizawa's goggles. As he does so, he picks them up and looks at them. A little trophy, don't you think? I see. If that's the case, let me go get 13's glove. Huh, this'll be fun. Now, where's Ida? As they are looking around, Deku immediately just sees Ida standing at the exit. Deku actually just takes Aizawa's belt, grabbing it, and he actually just takes out the knife and immediately just lobs it at Ida. As that happens, it immediately just flies through the back of Ida's calf, taking out his engine. Ida would just fall to the ground screaming as he sees this. Kurogiri and the rest of the villains are intrigued as they all start making their way forward. Now, Kurogiri doesn't need to teleport anyone because they just have an entire room full of sitting ducks. Now, as that happens, let's see. Mina immediately starts walking over towards the rest of the... Well, let's say she actually starts making her way over towards Momo. Well, this feels a bit better now. What happened? Why are you like this? Oh, you mean that you're talking about the personality shift? Oh, you're so funny. You see, that's not the real me. I noticed. Why? Well, me and Deku have been together for quite a long time. Plus, I believe people have heard of me and him. I go by one simple name in the Underworld. As she puts her hands together and immediately starts making slime appear on both of them. Alien Queen! As she just lobs all the slime at them. As Momo immediately starts creating a shield, she does so and the acid starts eating through it very quickly, burning her arm. She immediately just drops it as she tries creating something else. Mina immediately just rushes around and actually appears behind her as she immediately just holds out her hand and sprays acid, taking out Momo's arm, as she falls to the ground, coated in it. Now, at this point, Deku, he's having quite a bit of fun, as he's actually running around, actually trying to mess with Denki. Denki just keeps running and Deku's just chasing him down, as he would actually just throw his knife out and stab it into his back as he would fall to the ground. Deku walks over and he just starts twisting the knife, telling Denki that, you know, this is fun and all, but you're a little bit boring. I don't think I've ever truly seen you, as he brings his hand down to his back, saying, use your quirk. Denki begins screaming as his body just starts to turn to dust. As Deku, he's immediately just punched in the face by Kirishima. Kirishima would just say he can't believe this. I saved you on that bridge, and look what happened to you. I should have just let you fall. As Deku pauses for a second, he just has a shocked look on his face as he starts laughing. Kirishima, it's not too late for you. I could probably convince them to let you survive this. Survive? All Might's gonna be here soon. You really believe that? It's precious. All Might isn't in his prime anymore. Well, of course he's not. He's almost 50 years old. No. He can only do hero work for about 6 hours a day now. As Deku, he realizes what he just said. 6 hours. It's only been 5 hours in the day. Now, after that, All Might would come bursting through the door as he sees the horrid scene. Mina is actually just blasting as much acid as she can at Momo, as Momo is using her other arm to basically just shield herself from it. Along with the fact that quite a bit of the students are dead, Todoroki is still dying, there's a corpse, and Aizawa's basically just laying there in a pool of his own blood. Now, as soon as Deku sees this, he just immediately stops doing what he's doing and just tells Kirishima that, well then, All Might, as Deku actually just holds his hand up and pulls Aizawa up to his feet, holding his hand directly over his skull, saying, "If you come any closer," as Deku brings all his fingers down, "I will kill him." You, you how did he get to you? Oh, you mean All for One? He didn't get to me. I got to him. What? Yeah, quite busy in fact. Hang on, as Deku, he just immediately just brings his hand up behind him, actually putting it into the gut of Shoji. Shoji just asks how, and Deku would just say that you smell like fish, as Deku immediately just balls his hand to a fist and punches the spot. Shoji immediately snaps in two as he falls to the ground, or at least his torso does, as he is now bleeding out. He looks around immediately just saying, "Anyone else?" Good. As the League of Villains immediately start rushing in. Aizawa, let's say Aizawa, being still conscious somewhat, he tries erasing Deku's quirk as soon as he looks at him, and All Might begins rushing in. As that happens, the Nomu immediately just gets ordered to rush at All Might as he would do so, and the Nomu actually appears in front of All Might as he punches into it. All Might's confused and Deku would just say, the Nomu. Long time no see, old friend. Now, kill All Might. As the Nomu immediately just screams and starts trying to throw punches with All Might. Their fight would go very similar to Canon, except for the fact that the Nomu's regeneration is actually helping it win. Now, All Might would immediately go to try and actually, punch through it, or basically get behind it and just slam it down to the ground, and Kirigiri would immediately open up the portal, as the Nomu begins attacking All Might's side. This is when Kirigiri would immediately just watch as the Nomu starts trying to rip and tear through All Might's flesh. But Bakugo actually comes in and attacks Kirigiri, making him turn it off. The Nomu's chopped in half as All Might is actually panting and relieved that that's over. He begins walking away as Deku, he just smiles and just points behind All Might. Mina actually just tells the Nomu to attack! That thing's dead already. I don't know why you two are ordering it to, as All Might turns around and the Nomu's rushing at him. All Might immediately jumps backwards as he brings his hand up to actually catch it. The Nomu actually does scratch his face as All Might grabs and actually breaks his wrist. Now, as soon as that happened, Deku told Mina that they need to get close to All Might. If we kill him, we're in the league. Now then, while that's going on, everyone in Class 1A who's still alive is trying to either hide or attack. Now, who's still alive? I believe Ochako's still alive, so let's say that she is actually trying to rush at Deku, trying to catch him off guard as Mina immediately just holds out her hand, burning off her fingers. As she actually just brings up her knee, kicking Ochako in the face, sending her flying. Deku, he just walks over to Ida, saying, "If she's trying to attack us, then that means you're going to get back up, aren't you?" I actually did like you. Your stubborn personality, though, that was a breaking point, as Deku immediately just puts his hand down onto Ida's leg, saying that, this won't kill you, it'll give you an hour. As he just does so, rotting through his armor, and immediately just touching his leg again. Now, you have an hour. Also, that won't go away. You're going to have to cut that off. Your quirk will be useless. Ingenium will stop you. Ingenium? Are you serious? All Might can't even stop us. Ida immediately throws a punch at Deku, as Deku actually falls over to the ground and immediately just stands back up. Getting annoyed, he'd actually walk over, and he'd actually just pick Ida up off the ground, and immediately just throw him into the wall, punching and punching over and over again. as he immediately just gets annoyed and he just melts Ida's throat, as Ida falls to the ground and is dying. Now, with that, most of Class 1A is disabled, dead, their power players are dead, one is still in play, but that's not going to last very long against an entire league, and some of them are just too afraid to fight, as they have gone off to hide. Now, with that, Deku, he immediately starts running in as Mina does also. All Might would immediately just turn his head seeing these two as he's still struggling with the Nomu. He immediately tries using 100% to at least basically throw them or at least get them away from him, as he immediately just puts up his leg and immediately smashes it down as hard as he can, sending a shockwave out. This actually takes the Nomu off guard as All Might immediately just brings his leg up and actually kicks it away. He immediately starts running at Deku and Mina to actually disable them, or at least take them down. Now, while he does so, Deku, he immediately predicted this as he immediately just shifts his body weight and immediately just taps on the ground, letting loose his Decay. Right before he did that, he told Mina to jump as high as possible. She did so, and Deku just lets loose with both hands. All Might, he's running in as before he can even process it, he looks down and the Decay has already reached him. It immediately starts crawling up All Might's legs as All Might, he immediately, from just the force of running alone, snaps in half. He goes flying as his legs are sat there, turning to a pile of dust. Now, basically only his kneecaps and below are gone. The rest is unaffected. Now, Deku, he immediately starts walking around All Might as he begins to buff down. You've used too much power. Well, as Deku immediately just holds up his knife, saying, your head would make a nice trophy. Why not? As he immediately begins walking over. Kirigiri and the rest of the villains are surprised as this boy and this girl, along with the Nomu, have nearly just killed All Might, along with the fact that Deku is about to cut off his head. Now, after this, Deku, he's walking over as All Might tries to move, basically only able to use his knuckles, or at least his hands to basically move himself around. Deku watches as All Might tries to get back up, and he immediately just starts letting loose more of its Decay, as he just begins tapping his hands up and down, letting loose, laughing like a madman. All Might, most of his body at this point is gone as he has lost most of his torso, his left arm, only his heart, half his internal organs, and one lung are left, along with his right arm and his head. Now then, All Might, he is in tears basically, as his successors betrayed him, and he has failed his master. Don't worry, All Might. As Deku, he watches him start deflating. All Might does so as he begins coughing up blood. His last words are why. Why? Because, as Deku just whispers in All Might's ear, I'm going to become the king of the Underworld. I will give you one thing. I will kill all for one. As Deku immediately slices off All Might's head, holding it up for everyone to see as the villains begin cheering him on. As Kirigiri just holds up his, basically watches, Bakugo's in shock as he turns his head, Kirigiri immediately just portals him away, as he stands up and immediately just shouting King Nothing. All the villains begin cheering as Bakugo, or Mina and Deku are teleported away with Kirigiri to the bar where Deku just tosses All Might's head on the bar, saying he's got a little gift for them. The League of Villains is in shock as All for One appears on the TV screen. So, you collect trophies. Interesting. What's that? Oh, this, as he holds it up saying, it's All Might's head. Now the other thing. Oh, they're Eraserhead's goggles. Figured he'd be a problem in the future. Oh, you are very clever, aren't you? Isn't that why you wanted me? Now, as Deku immediately sits down at the bar, and Mina just jumps onto his lap. What do you guys want from us? That is where I'm leaving off, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Now then, I am probably going to get a lot of hate on this, but just know it's a villain what if. People die. In fact, I'm pretty sure most people kill off all of 1A. I usually like to leave some survivors.